Hello and welcome to the first in a new series that I'm calling the Armchair Steward. Reasons for that? Armchair because I'm just a fan, I don't know anything. It's just my opinion and I could be completely wrong and I'm no expert. So we're here to debate. And the second word, steward. That's right. I will be assessing incidents from recent races that I feel are worth discussing. So obviously in Imola last weekend, I think the big incident that happened there was George Russell and Valtteri Bottas colliding with each other on lap 31, I believe, in the middle of the race to bring out the safety car and then the red flag. Now, I have seen quite a lot of splitting going on with this. A lot of people think that it's Russell's fault, a lot of people think it's Bottas's fault, and a lot of people think it's a racing incident. I feel like more people are swaying towards either racing incident or Russell's fault. But never mind that, I'm going to give my opinion on who I think was at fault for this. And it's just my opinion, so don't take it seriously. Feel free to agree or disagree in the comments. But yeah, so I'll just talk you through what happened. So, Bottas was in front, Russell was behind. I believe Russell had DRS and the slipstream, so he had a massive speed advantage heading into the first chicane. Bottas was kind of in the middle of the track, and Russell went to the outside on the right hand side to try and pass Bottas. And Russell dipped a wheel or two wheels, I think it was either one wheel or two wheel, on the grass, and that caused him to lose control and go into the right hand side of Bottas. So he went left and crashed into the right side of Bottas's car, and they both subsequently had a massive crash and went way off into the gravel, into the first chicane, debris everywhere. And yeah, safety car and red flag. First things first, I'm reading a lot of conspiracy theories that, two Mercedes drivers crashing into each other to save Hamilton's race, which I thought was quite funny. Obviously, complete nonsense, but, nice to have a bit of fun about that, Crashgate 2.0. But down to the serious business now, what I think happened. For me, I put the blame vastly on George Russell for this. Because when you look at what happened, the rule is you need to leave a car's width. And Bottas did that. He left a car's width. It wasn't like Russell was being forced onto the grass. That wasn't the case. Russell drove onto the grass himself and lost control and went into the side of Bottas. Now, I can understand a bit of blame being put on Bottas, and I will put a bit of blame on Bottas here, because, he moved very slightly to the right. It wasn't massively to the right, but very, very slightly to the right. And that could have maybe thrown Russell a bit off, but look, at the end of the day, it's not like he was forcing Russell off. At the end of the day, Bottas is a racing driver. He has to defend the position. He can't just say, oh yeah, George, why not go past, have my position, easy peasy. No, he has to do something. So his little move to the right was probably his way of defending the position. But at the end of the day, I can't fault him for trying to defend the position. And it's not, as I said, it's not like he forced Russell off the track. Russell had a car's width. And I think Russell just overreacted to Bottas' defense almost, and went onto the grass and lost control. So for people who are putting majority blame on Bottas, fair enough, that's your opinion, you're entitled to it. But I'm struggling to understand why. I'm trying to find something to blame Bottas with. Yeah, the slight move to the right, maybe put 10% blame on him, but honestly, I can't give more than 10% blame to Bottas and 90% blame to Russell there for me. But honestly, despite the whole thing that happened, let's not forget that this is George Russell in a bloody Williams. Like, Bottas is in a Mercedes. Bottas should not be fighting with a Williams. Like, his car is arguably probably the joint fastest car on the grid, and he's fighting with a car that is probably the second worst car on the grid. So yeah, it really, honestly, if the crash didn't happen and the subsequent reactions, which I'll also get into, that would have been embarrassing for Bottas. Bottas really should be thanking Russell for that crash, because ultimately more of the blame or more of the attention is going on Russell rather than Bottas. Bottas in a Mercedes P9 is an absolutely embarrassing look for him, and for me that's just completely unacceptable, and he needs to step it up. And I don't expect him to do much better, really. I mean, look, I expect him to get podiums and all that, but he should be doing that every single race. So performances like this are just really embarrassing. But I have to say, people have been bringing up, was Russell a bit too eager with the attacking? Was Bottas too eager with the defending because Bottas is the number 2 Mercedes driver, because Russell is the Mercedes protege who's been waiting in the wings for the last 2 years and really, really wants that Mercedes seat? Maybe they both wanted to prove a point. Maybe that's the reason why they were so aggressive towards each other, is because they both had a point to prove, because they're both potential candidates for that Mercedes seat for next season. But yeah, for me it's clear cut. Russell went on the grass and lost control and crashed. But yeah, for me the most disappointing thing wasn't really the crash, it was just the reaction afterwards. Okay, I think people who were criticizing Russell for slapping Bottas's helmet probably jumped the gun a bit there, because at the end of the day, it is heat of the moment stuff. It's racing drivers. When things go wrong, it's high adrenaline, a lot of emotion, a lot of passion. I completely understand. Both drivers being frustrated. Bottas flipping the bird and Russell slapping Bottas's helmet, and then both of them mouthing each other off on team radio. It's easy to criticize when you're sitting, in your comfy armchair, but you have to factor in you would probably be doing the same thing if you were in that situation. So, I get Russell's reaction and Bottas' reaction in the immediate aftermath of the incident, but what really ticked me off, what really annoyed me, and to be honest, quite frankly disappointed me, was the way Russell handled it in the post-race interviews and on social media, where in the post-race interviews he clearly laid the blame at Bottas and quite frankly came across as very petulant. And the same thing on social media. He didn't directly blame Bottas on social media, but he heavily implied that he wasn't to blame and Bottas was to blame. And quite frankly, I think the way he handled that incident was really shambolic, if you ask me. And I'm surprised and I'm disappointed, because I thought Russell was better than that. But hey, look, again, maybe it's nice to have a bit of drama, a bit of needle in the sport. Maybe it's nice to have a bit of, controversy, so to create some excitement. He did apologise today. I assume Toto Wolff has probably told George, George, this is not a good look for you. You need to apologise, because, yeah, it wasn't a good look for him. But yeah, it's all round. It was, for me, very, very clearly George Russell's fault for that crash. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say regarding that incident. Imola was a pleasant surprise. Expected it to be a complete bore fest, but fortunately the rain saved the day. And yeah, 6 out of 10 race. But yeah, that's all I've got to say for this whole thing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Ta-da.